Okay, now I think it's a good timing so we can start our workshop, right? So for the first module, so I will talk about some basics of Gen AI and how, how we can somehow apply, right, to tasks in cybersecurity. So we'll talk about some basics and also some like term, like some keywords that you may have already heard, LLM, foundation models, and then we will talk about how do we prompt, what are good ways to prompt. And for the material, I modified from AWS, right? So they have some like called the LMS that somehow work on some like training material and then use some services from AWS to play with some LLM from AWS. So if you look at the slide, so we will have some activity where we will try to access the LLM from AWS to get some idea. Okay, and of course, yesterday I heard that Dr. Chakram also talked about this concept of Gen AI, so maybe we will go a little fast for this part. Okay, so let's start our discussion. Okay, from the introducing of Gen AI. Okay, so about me, so I'm Chantri from AIT. So these are some of the projects that I did at AIT. So mostly it is about AI in some applications, like for the sign language, right? So that's also some of the research project that I'm working with Thai PBS and Deaf Association of Thailand. So the goal is, if you watch Thai PBS, right, sometimes they have a program that have the sign language translator and present on television on the program. But you see that very, very few programs have those translators, right? Which, of course, for deaf people, right, they are deaf, so they cannot hear. So they need to understand what are spoken in the television from sign language translator. Right. So for those programs without translator, how can they understand? Well, yeah, subtitle is fine, but subtitle is from spoken language, right? And yes, if they can hear, then they understand, but because they are deaf, so some of them don't understand. What else? Any other methods? Well, if they have some friends who can hear, so they can ask them, okay, what are spoken in the program, right? Yeah, but the thing is, that's not practical. And you know why very few programs have translator? Very few television programs have sign language translators. I mean, in Thailand, right? I'm not sure about in Indonesia. Is it the same problem? Maybe, no. You know why? Well, the thing is, sign language is another language. Yes, I'm not sure how many of you can speak more than one languages, right? Maybe some Thai, English, or Mandarin. But learning language is not that easy. And in Thailand, we have around like 400 sign language translators that are certified to do the translation, right? Which is not enough compared to we have around 400,000 deaf people in Thailand. So my project is about to develop what we call a sign language avatar that somehow create the avatar that listen to what is spoken on television and perform sign. Right, so that's the thing that we are working. And for cybersecurity, so we have some working on some like bank and then with NECTEC to develop some kind of like modeling in order to detect some fraud detection with Bank of Thailand, right? So that also some of the projects related to cybersecurity. So if you are interested in this project and want to discuss more, then you are welcome to talk to me. Okay, right. So and of course for the team today, so we have, actually we are supposed to have 6. Okay. Yeah, so these are the team and that will help you if you have some problems with the programming or whatever. So they will help you today. And of course, we have Puji, whose picture is not present here. Okay, right. So let's talk about what we are about to cover. So this is what we will try to cover for this slide. Okay, so most of the things that we will cover for this slide are some basic vocabularies that maybe you have or have not heard before, right? The LLM foundation model and some of the keywords, okay, of in the Gen AI, okay. And this is what we are about to cover. And of course, we will talk about some of these concepts of Gen AI, some vocabularies, and we will have some quick activity that you play with the Gen AI, right, from AWS, which is from Amazon. Okay, so this is about the foundation model, right? So I think some of you have heard about the ML or machine learning before, right? So that's the model behind the AI, so that the AI can make some decision or make some prediction or whatever, right? So the machine learning. So I think you have heard this term before, and somehow the machine learning seems to do pretty well on certain applications, right? Why is that? Machine learning? Why machine learning seems to do pretty well? For example, if you have some photos and then you take a photo and then send to some like Gen AI or some model and ask what is inside the photo, it seems to do pretty well. Why is that? No, I think Dr. Shaklam already mentioned yesterday, right? Sorry? It's dumb. No, it's good, right?
It's good, but it's simple.
Uh-huh. So why you think that task is simple for machine learning? This is just some algorithm or some model, mathematical model.
Because the model just simply look at the image and make it more noise.
More noise? Oh.
It's just convolution.
No, that's the like architecture, right? But my question is, why is that model, whether is it the convolution or whatever, why is it so good to identify what are inside the image? They say you take a picture of a dog, you send it to some Gen AI, let's say some AI model, then ask what is inside the picture. Then it can tell exactly and correctly what are inside the picture. My question is, why is it so good? Well, at first it's quite dumb, but now it's become smart. Train, right? So it's trained with what? Yeah, so lots of data. So the idea of machine learning, so you have the picture, tell the picture, we call this a label. This is dog, cat, house, whatever, and then put to the model, right? And you put many of those data. Of course, when you talk about data, it could be pictures, video, text, sound, whatever, right? But if we have lots of data, then we tell the model that, okay, this is dog, right? So eventually, it learns the pattern or the structure of the picture and then it can say that, okay, if they are given some picture without any label, it can identify or classify that this is a dog, this is a cat, house, or whatever, right? So the idea behind this is called the inductive reasoning. Where has anyone heard inductive reasoning before? Inductive. Oh, yes, you seem to know. Oh, okay. So the idea of machine learning is, you can say this is called inductive reasoning. We give the example that this is a dog, this is a cat. And from that, so if it finds something from that example, then it tries to learn by inductively, start from that point, from that example, and then learn eventually what is dog, what is picture of dog or cat, right? But for human, do we use that approach? For example, when we design a firewall rule, what do we use inductive reasoning to identify that this is block, this is pass, this is block? Some? Well, when we define the firewall rule, right? Normally we start from policy of the company. Okay, so if you are employee, you are not supposed to go access Facebook during your working hour, right? And from that policy, you come up with a rule, right? That, okay, if you go to Facebook at this time, then it's blocked, right? So that's the, what we call deductive reasoning, right? From the basic concept or logic or guideline, right? Come up with some rule, right? So that's the somehow difference when for human and AI, right? When they learn, right? So of course, in these days, the AI they use some like hybrid model, combine both inductive and deductive reasoning to make some decision. Right. It has some rule, and then maybe it learns from some pattern. Okay, there are many traffic coming from this country. Then maybe it's likely like the attack that it blocked. Right. So that's also some of the key reasoning model behind the AI. But come back to this picture. Right. So that nowadays with lots of good data that we have on the internet. So some researchers use those good data to train the AI or train the machine learning model. And with lots of data, now the AI seems to do pretty well on certain tasks, right? Classify picture or do some kind of prediction, although I'm not sure. Now, I think there are a lot of AI that try to predict the stock, right? Yeah, so has anyone tried? Does it work? Maybe, okay. Okay, what model you use? Or what AI model you use to predict the stock? Okay. Does it make a good, correct prediction? 50. Well, 50-50 is still fine. Yeah, I try to train the model by myself, and then like once the model gets some result, I create like a chat bot to tell me, okay, Bitcoin, buy, sell, buy, sell. What do you know? What the result? Well, yeah. If it's good, then maybe I will somehow be not in this room, right? I'll go travel, right? So that also some of the things that AI still cannot do pretty well on that, okay, right? So that's the machine learning. So once we give the model with lots of good data, right? Then it can somehow find the pattern. Then if it come across a new data, some picture without any label, then if the model is very good, then it can make a very good prediction or can make, we call this inference, right? So that's also the idea behind a machine learning model, right? But of course, sometimes because of the buzzword, oh, AI, ML, let's try it, right? In reality, maybe it's not a good approach, always a good approach to always use AI. Why is that? Why is that? Well, if you have no idea, yeah, look at this, two servers. Can you guess what? For example, to run Olama model, what do we need? If you want to run in private, oh yes, you seem to have the answer. Okay. GPU, right, from NVIDIA, right? Has anyone buy NVIDIA stock 10 years ago? No? Yes, I have some of my friends who bought NVIDIA stock 10 years ago. Now, he's a faculty member. He just enjoy his work and relax. Yeah, go to work, have coffee, play golf, go home. Yeah, that's okay. Let's get back. Right. Yes. For let's say to run Gen AI, we need server with GPU, which is how much does it cost for the good GPU? A lot, yeah. On the order of, if you talk about a 6,000, yeah. If you talk about in Thai baht, right? I'm not sure in Indonesia, can you buy some like good and cheap GPU? Oh yeah. Oh, where? Yeah, tell me. I want to buy too. Yeah, the thing is to run this machine learning, you need resource, either servers, GPU, which means you need lots of money. And of course, just server are not enough. Why is that? Yes, you seem to have some idea. Oh, okay. Yeah, the thing is, if you want to run some AI services, right, you need a data center, right, to ensure that it's always on 24/7, right, because of the internet world, Line, Facebook, whatever. From user perspective, it seems that everything must be available 24/7, okay. But if you want to have these services, then you need your own data center, which somehow power backup, air conditioner, everything ready, which means you need to invest a lot, right, to have the good ML or good AI model, right? Which means in reality, sometimes AI may be not a good solution for some of your applications, right? Of course, with cloud computing, it's also, there could be another option that you can try as well. What is cloud computing? Yes? Oh, you don't. Okay. To? Okay. Okay, through IDC data center. Okay. Uh-huh. Right, so that's the idea, right? So with cloud computing, you have some providers which buy lots of servers, lots of GPU, right, and provide that service from internet, or they call it from the cloud. So in that case, you don't own it, but you just like rent, right? You pay for this to use it for an hour, a day, or whatever, right? Which could save some costs. Is that true? Well, oh, you smile, yeah. What's wrong? Yeah, it's in the long run, it's also costly as well, right? So that's also some trade-off that you have to think about if you want to run ML. Maybe if you want to test it for say some idea, cloud computing is another like viable option that you can use to test some solution, okay, with some cost, right? But in the long run, eventually you need to buy some physical servers to run the model, okay? That's also the idea of ML, okay? And of course, to have a good ML model, you need a good data, right? And of course, I think you have seen this before, right? So the good data, for example, if you talk about image, right? The image should be clear, should be like you should see clearly what is inside the image. Or if it is the questionnaire, let's say you work in healthcare, maybe you get the data from user through questionnaire. You have to make sure that what are written, you can read it and then key it to the system correctly. Okay, that's also some of the requirement. Instead of just having good server GPU, you need good data. And to get good data, you need some kind of approaches or some mechanism to ensure that data that you got, you put into the model is good. When you say good data, what else do you think about? Good data, yes? Yeah, accuracy, data is clean, it is correct, right? What else? Yes? Sanitize. Yeah, it is clean, right? So I mean, when data is sanitized, data is clean, is correct. Anything else? Sufficient? What does it mean by sufficient? Right, yeah, that's so true. You need lots of data so that model can learn the pattern so that it can make some prediction and like good enough prediction or classification. Anything else? Any ideas? Good data, clean, sanitized, sufficient. Anything else? No outlier? Well, can you do that? No outlier? Okay, yeah, that's also, yeah, so maybe you did some kind of a judgment to say that, okay, maybe this type of data is outlier, is irrelevant, no need to put into the model. Okay, another thing is it is up to date, right? Sometimes data changes, people changes, like whatever, right? Which means you have to ensure that data is up to date, clean, sufficient. But in order to do that, especially if you work in some organization, what are challenges that you face when you want to get good data? Let's say you work in a big organizations, many departments. Of course, if you want to do the, yes? Privacy, that's also true, right? So you need some, you get data, you have to make sure that data that you have is somehow has some like privacy. Let's say in Thailand, we have PDPA law, right? PDPA. So we have to ensure that data to be used is somehow allowed by the owner of the data, okay? But, yes?
Maybe you're needing computing power and then storage.
Yes, that also some resources that you need to have to store all those data and to process those data. Also, I'm not sure if you have some experience, like let's say you work in one department, you want to get data from another department. What happened? Yeah, maybe you go to ask, hey, I want this data. What did they answer? Who are you? Yeah. Why you order me to do this? This is my data. Yeah, how to do that if you have that problem? Yes?
You need protocols?
Yeah, protocols, or you need, sometimes that person said, tell my boss that to get this data, I already listened to my boss. Then you go tell his boss, what happened? He may ask, who are you again, right? Why you order me? I already talked to your boss, right? Which means now another step. You need to talk to your boss, to tell his boss to get the data, right? So sometimes boss are at the same level. They don't somehow listen to other. You need to go to higher boss, right, to order that boss to tell his that employee to get the data, right? So that also some data silo that is quite somehow typical in some organizations, especially in some government units. Yeah. And sometimes they just say one thing, start with P. PDPA, right? Just say, okay, we cannot give data. This is PDPA. It's like some keyword that imply that, okay, I don't want to give this data to you. Yeah, so that's also something that a challenge that we need to face if we want to get somehow get good data, to get a good model, to make some prediction. Okay, that's also some of the challenge that we face. Okay, to get good data. And of course, if you talk about type of data, so I think you may have seen this before. We have a structure, semi-structure, and unstructured. For structure, you talk about data in the spreadsheet, right, which has all the fixed columns, tell what are in each column. Semi-structure, maybe in some JSON format, right? That's also something that you can get. Or some unstructured, like some images, some videos, some sound, right? Those are some of the data that are available for us to use to train the model. Right, so this is one example, the label data, where we need to do label to somehow inform the machine learning that, okay, this is a dog, this is a cat. Okay, so who is going to do the label? Human. You? Who? Well, maybe if you are boss, okay, you can tell your team, okay, you do the label. Or you hire someone else, okay, do the label. Okay, that also some challenges because with a label data, then you can somehow use that information to train the model to do some prediction, right? But the thing is, for label data, we talk about the type of machine learning called supervised learning, where it learns from label data, right? And it is one of the most popular like approaches to train the machine learning with supervised learning, which means we need a label data with a correct label, okay? Which of course, sometimes you don't have it or you don't want to do the label, right? Maybe you need to hire someone to do it, which means another cost that you need to consider as well, okay? For others, it's also quite like less popular, but also quite important. Unsupervised learning, maybe you work in some e-commerce and you want to somehow, you have some idea, okay, you have 3 groups of customers, maybe you need to do some kind of analysis called unsupervised to check, okay, based on your assumption, there are 3 groups of customers, the like the teenager, the adult, or the elderly. Are the data follow that pattern or not, right? That's the unsupervised learning. For reinforcement learning, it's learned from like penalty. You can think about some driverless car, right? So if the car hits something, you give the penalty. If it doesn't hit anything, then you give the reward, right? So that's how you train the model. Okay, those are some of the common like learning. Okay, but I think you have heard deep learning. Okay, so what did Dr. Chaklam mention yesterday about deep learning? Were you at his class yesterday? No? No idea. Who is Dr. Chaklam? What is deep learning? Yes? Okay. Well, it's okay. From this picture, right? You have a lot of things called machine learning, right? So you have lots of mathematical model that represent learning model. Okay, but for deep learning, it is somehow a particular model based on a layer of neural network, right? Which somehow they got idea from like mammal brain, where a brain consists of many neurons connect together. So they use that idea to come up with a neural network model that somehow and then train that neural network to learn something. Okay, that's the like neural network, which is of course very, very popular. And yeah, I think it is like the foundation model to use in many, many applications like ChatGPT or like AlphaFold or whatever, right? So that's also very popular and very good model. Okay, and of course, we talk about deep learning and we have the generative AI or the foundation model, which is a very specific type of deep learning. So what is it? Dr. Chaklam mentioned this yesterday. Were you here yesterday? No, okay, sorry. Yeah, so what is generative AI? The term generative, right? Like general, right? Generative. Mm-hmm. Right, yeah. I think you get some idea, right? For generative learning, you can use this picture, right? A dog, I just create this, a dog driving a car, right? Compared to like typical machine learning, right? You train, this is a picture of a dog, right? So it can, once you give some unknown picture, it can identify the dog in that picture. Then you train, this is a car, then model know about the car, right? But for generative, right? It is, the keyword is extensively trained on massive amount of data, right? So it train, you have lots of data from the whole internet, right? Or the text, English from the whole internet, from Wikipedia or whatever, or videos from YouTube, whatever, so that it can somehow be able to produce what we call a generalized response to language input. For example, you model know about the car, about the dog, so that it is somehow complex enough. So if we ask, please generate a picture of dog driving a car, maybe this is not common, not typical, but because of the somehow the model that is very, very complex, and it is trained with huge amount of data, which means it can somehow try to generalize something that has never been seen before, right? This dog driving a car, right? Of course, I think you can still see this from the internet, right? So, but this is some example that I want to give it out to show the what is generative AI, okay? And of course, if you talk about generative AI, right? You talk about the keyword foundation model, or we use the acronym FM, okay? FM, foundation model, which is basically, sometimes we call this a pre-trained model. Pre-trained, right? It trained with massive amount of data, right? And they try to categorize this foundation model based on certain area of applications. Of course, this is not, this is just some example, right? In reality, there are a lot more. For example, my research on sign language, right? So we don't have it yet, the foundation model of sign language, where it can look at the video of the movement of hand, palm, and then can translate what did that sign mean to be. Okay, that's the idea. But based on this category, so we have 4 main groups of foundation model. The text, okay, it's a block, yeah, but the ChatGPT, which is based on GPT foundation model, right, from OpenAI, right? So it can generate a lot of text and image, right? So it can somehow generate some image. So there are some foundation model, audio, or some biomedical, like AlphaFold from DeepMind, right? Those are some of the foundation model or some pre-trained model that are available, right? That sometimes you can access this, or sometimes you have to pay to use it, okay? And so the idea is, with a generative AI model, when we somehow give the instruction, or we call this a prompt, which is instruction or question written in natural language, English, Thai, then the model is able to perform, do something based on the input or the prompt that is given to the model, right? Whether to create some story, to create some video, some music, or predict some protein structure. Right? That's also possible with generative AI through a prompt. Okay. Okay. So these are some examples of some prompt that I think we have tried before, especially for the ChatGPT. Okay. So these are some example of the prompt, which this is from for a predict some protein structure. So these are some example of the prompt that we can have, right? So we can put it into a structure with the input, the prediction, some context of the prompt that we need to make, so that the model, the foundation model, can give the result that is accurate. Okay. So we will talk about some example of some how to make a good prompt later. Okay, and for the LLM or large language model, right? It is a foundation model for text, right? That's for text. So you prompt. So there are with the text or the LLM, there are lots of applications, right? Who generate some text to answer some question, text summarization, or if I think many of you have tried, if you are a developer, you write, want to write the code to do something. Right, that's also quite typical application of LLM. Okay, so in conclusions, right? So we talk about the foundation model, right? That FM, right? So that is a pre-trained model. So it's trained with lots of data, and of course, for us, maybe we don't have the resources to get the to generate a foundation model. But we can, some company, they have the foundation model like Meta, and they somehow give it for free, right, as an open source, so we can try to use it, okay? So we talk about different categories of like a foundation model. We talk about the prompt and the LLM, right, which is the one that we will focus on our workshop today, okay? Okay, any question at this point? So far so good? Too fast, too slow? Too easy? Okay, so but this is just some basic idea of the generative AI, right? So now let's look at some of the model that of the foundation model that are available. Diffusion model, which is to create some for image, right? GAN, generative adversarial network, right? So it can use for image to audio and some, but most for LLM, they focus use most of them based on transformer, right? Which is the foundation model that used in many LLM, right? for NLP task. Okay, so just a quick idea of how LLM process text data, right? So maybe some of you have seen this before. So when we have the text, right? So it try to somehow, the model will somehow interpret these texts as what we call a token, right? So the token could be like for English, right? If it is one small like short word like hello, big, it could be one token. If it is a big word like celebrity or whatever, maybe it consists of multiple tokens in a single English word, right? And from that token, it's going to do what we call vector embedding, right? Which basically try to convert those tokens into the vector, which is in number or digit. Why is that? Why do they need to convert token into digit? Right, because computer only knows number, digit, right? They process in binary digit, right? So that's why to make computer understand the meaning, it needs to somehow embed or convert into number, right? And from that number, it can find a similarity among some tokens, right? That's also the idea of how LLM process text data. Basically, it's true for image or whatever. We need a way to somehow convert those data into number, right? That's the idea. And from that, once we have the number, then it try to somehow predict the word based on the probability, right? That's also the key idea behind how LLM can generate some text. Basically, it is based on some math, some probability value, right? Okay, and of course, there is a challenge from that, which is called because it is based on the math, on the probability, based on the inductive reasoning. So whatever we try to prompt, right, it will try its best to give the answer, no matter is it somehow valid, accurate, or exist at all, right? That's also some of the problem, which I think you have already seen this. It could somehow hallucinate, right? Say something that has never been look correct, but it is not true, or toxic, right? Bias or illegality, right? That's also some of the challenges that we could have with the like our foundation model or the LLM. So have you had this experience before? So how to prevent or correct? Let's say for software developer, have you had some code that not true? How you fix it? That's true. Yeah. Anything else or any way you can do it to prevent or detect this type of problems?
When I have a problem, I have to put an input and more idea that explain what target.
Okay. Yeah. But how do you detect that it's incorrect? Well, you need two steps, right? First, you need to detect this is wrong, not true. Then you need to somehow refine your prompt so that it is correct. Or sometimes, but maybe it's different because if you ask the ChatGPT to generate some text, maybe you read and it's not very clean or not proper, you somehow reprompt, right? But for fact, how do you check? How do you know that it is incorrect? Experience, right? Or you use your domain knowledge. Or for software engineer, maybe you try to run it. It doesn't produce the result as expected, then you change it, right? So which means you need some experience. What else?
So how would I handle that if I have got some wrong answers and I will tell it that's wrong?
Yeah. Well, I think one of us already have answered, right? We based on our experience, we know that this is wrong, this is incorrect.
How do I send that information to
Okay.
things on the front or
Well, normally if you can detect it's wrong, maybe you need to somehow refine your prompt. Okay, this is not right. I want this. Okay, you need to somehow refine your prompt. But it means you already have some experience. You know this is wrong, and this is not right. Yeah. But in reality, if you have no experience on that subject, how do you know it's wrong?
how we believe that my experience is right or wrong? How would we define? Is it just to say that right or wrong because I know this?
Okay. Before I answer that, what do you think? How would be the best way to somehow know that it's right or wrong?
Don't connect the multiple inputs from the others as well.
You can try with other models, right?
No. Because I say that that is wrong. We get same type of answers from others as well. I think
Yeah, your friend, right?
from others.
Yeah, that's also something that we can do it, right? So we perhaps cross-check with other models or cross-check with your friends. But that's the challenge, right? If maybe you don't have enough experience, you don't have somehow experts who can give you additional suggestions, then that could be a problem with the foundation model or the LLM, right? And these are some of the challenges that we face if you somehow use the LLM or the foundation model, right? Hallucination, toxicity, or bias, or illegality, or whatever. I'm not sure. Has someone tried to somehow, or someone think that, okay, ChatGPT is too smart. Let's make sure it's not too smart. So just tell them, okay, 1 + 1 is 10. Tell them, and if you have many people, maybe it's gonna believe you. No, never try? Okay, yeah, I never try as well, although I'm not sure if it's gonna make sense. Yeah, but that's the challenges that we need to face, right, for this foundation model. Okay, so of course, I think you know that we can somehow adjust some parameter, we call it temperature, so that the model is more deterministic, right? So we will talk about this later when we play with the Llama 3, right? So that's something that you can try, some parameters you can try to adjust, okay? And of course, there are other approaches that we can use to somehow make sure that it somehow does not hallucinate or give incorrect result, right? So once, let's say, from your experience, you know it's incorrect. So you provide more information in the prompt. Or you make a reference to some data source, right? Okay, try to answer based on this source of data, right? That's also something that we can try. Or you somehow perform additional training on some specific data set, right? That's also another approaches that you can try so that the LLM or the foundation model give more better responses, okay? And of course, these are some of the key components to get a good result from the foundation model, right? So model choice, this is LLM, so you should use a transformer-based model, right? Which is more somehow like valid for those type of tasks, right? You decide a good prompt, you know maybe for this model, you should prompt on a certain structure or sequence with certain keywords, right? So that the model understands clearly what you want to ask and then give a correct and valid answer, right? Data quality, maybe for the pre-trained model, it is trained on very general model. You need some additional data so that it is more relevant to your task, okay? And also some safeguard or some rules that you need to inform when you prompt that, okay, if you are some model, these are some of the guidelines that you must use in order to give some answer, okay? Right, so that's the key takeaway, right? We talk about some different somehow architecture, a transformer, that's what we are focused on the LLM, right? Some solution and some design so that the foundation model give a good response, okay? Okay, and so that's for the another part. So actually I want to talk a little bit about AI services in the cloud. So in case maybe you want to try, but you don't have just try some basic idea, but you don't have resource at the beginning. Maybe you want to test some idea, and if it works, maybe you can somehow write a grant to purchase some like a server or GPU. So one way you can do it is use a cloud, right? So use a service on the cloud. I think there are many somehow like public cloud vendor available, right? From US, we have like AWS, Google, Azure. From China, Huawei, or even through IDC. Right? So that's also some of the services. And of course, there are some different type of services that are available for us to choose from. Whether you want a compute, like for Amazon, they have EC2. For Azure, they have some like some compute services with some GPU that you can use in order to run some model. Right? That's some of the issues. Of course, in the long run, it's expensive, but if you want to test some idea, this is a good way you can try. Right? Actually, in the trainer session, we will talk a little bit how we use AWS to set up all of this thing together. Okay. Or if you want to, this is to compute a compute model, or if you want to somehow build, train, and deploy model, right? There are some services that are available, like SageMaker AI, that's also from Amazon, that somehow has everything on the cloud in order to create some model and deploy and use it. That's also another option, but quite expensive. Yeah, this is, has anyone tried SageMaker? No? Okay, if you try it, be careful, right? Sometimes you think, because cloud is charged based on usage, right? Which means if you use it, you stop it. You pay only the amount of time that you use it. But sometimes because of this, it consists of many services. You thought you turn it off, but in reality, maybe some hidden services available, and by the end of the month, you may be surprised. Oh, what happened, right? So that also some warning that you want to use this stuff. So you need some understanding what architecture, what are services that run these services, and make sure you properly turn it off when you are done. Okay. Has anyone have some experience working on these cloud services before? Have you got any surprise by the end of the month? Oh, okay. Oh, what can you share experience? Mm-hmm. 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 Okay, okay, I see. Yeah, also. So how do you do it? How do you deal with that? Pay? Or you just close that account and gone? Okay, okay, that's also some some issue, right? Also, I'm not sure if you have some experience, but sometimes in Thailand, sometimes they use illegal software, and that illegal software come with some malware. And one of my students, he used some some graphic software to which is he got a pirate version, and that pirate version comes with malware. So once, and also he runs some cloud project. So once he used that software, that malware somehow can hack through his cloud account and mine some Bitcoin using his account, which means by the end of the month, what happened? Around 100,000 baht bill pop up. Oh, what happened? Yeah, you know what happened next? You said he disappeared? No, no. The thing is he is a student, right? So he don't have money to pay. Of course, not that severe. But the thing is, for cloud provider, for AWS, they have like the country manager. So we contact them and somehow we can inform that, okay, this is not from he doesn't have Bitcoin account, right? This is from someone else. So he write a petition that somehow they waive that fee, right? That's something that you can try. So maybe because he's a student, so maybe if you want to work on cloud project and you have some students, that may be another way to somehow, if something happen, okay, but don't trust me on that, okay. Right, but that's also something, right, and also there are some other services that are available, right, on the cloud, which means if you don't have, you don't want to purchase the servers, you want to test something, then it's fine to try on this, okay, right. So these are some of the services. So for Amazon Q, it's like ChatGPT, but it is mostly focused on like AWS services. So if you want to somehow, let's say, adjust, you can either use prompt or reference to some knowledge. But if the model is still not that great, you want to improve, then you need this Bedrock, which means it is the like foundation model through the API on the cloud. So if you want to fine tune, then you can have the additional data to fine tune the model. That's also possible. And of course, if you want to build from scratch, then you have the SageMaker where you can build your own everything. But what's the drawback? Right, what does it mean? Yeah, cost, right, cost, very costly. Also, you have to have understanding. But even though this is from AWS, but for other provider, they have these similar services for you to choose as well, right? Not just from, this is an example from AWS, okay? Right, so that's also something like SageMaker, we already talked about this. Bedrock, right, so that's also some API to access the foundation model, right? Amazon Q is like ChatGPT, so I will not go into the detail, right? So that's also summarize the what we cover, right? Some cloud services that are available, some challenges, and let's talk about some use cases, which I think you already have seen before, right? So, that's also some requirement to some like what good application that Gen AI is suitable. Yeah. So of course, sometimes maybe it's not like the good option if you want to use Gen AI, right? If you have some ethical concern, or in Thailand, some like privacy, some PDPA or GDPR, maybe that's not a good tool to use, right? Yeah, so that's some of the somehow the thing that you need to somehow consider, okay? And of course, there are some benefit as well. I think you have used ChatGPT, you know that sometimes it can somehow help you work faster or give some feedback on your work, right? That's also quite typical. Right? And these are some of the examples that are available. So I think everyone already tried it, so I will not go into the detail, right? To develop some virtual assistant or some personalization, summarization, or content creation. One of my projects is working with helping some company to develop some kind of like chatbot for like mental consultant. Yeah, we try to work on that. So some company are interested in that approach, right? Because in a company, normally when the employee have some stress, quite stressful, sometimes they need some they need to consult. Right. Of course, in some company, I'm not sure how many companies has the psychiatrist service. No? But what happened when you are stressful? Drink. Oh, okay, that's good. Why? what about others? No? Drink beer. You are stressful, drink beer, done. Exercise. Yeah, the thing is sometimes in some company, I think some ECAT or whatever, they have some psychiatrist service. If you are stressful, you can consult with them. Or in some university, they have those services. But of course, if you have many people, maybe it's not enough, right? So that's why we think about how to develop some kind of virtual assistant that somehow provides some to analyze, okay? And if it is quite serious, then you somehow forward to a real psychiatrist. Okay, that's also something that we are working. Of course, this is not it cannot make a decision. It just try to analyze and then forward, right? So it cannot just give some precise suggestion, right? So that's also something that we are working on right now. Right, so that's also some example. So I will not go into the detail, right? Yes, and what about in cybersecurity? Right, so I think we talked about this before, right? How we can use Gen AI in cybersecurity. Okay, so these are some of the examples that Gen AI can use, right? To basically, mostly it's about to analyze the log, right, and identify if there is any somehow abnormal behavior, abnormal traffic, or some strange might happen, then it's going to somehow inform the authority to act on something, right? That's also some of the possible application, like threat detection and log analysis, or even to automate report generation. Maybe you need to write a report, summarize everything every day on a daily or a weekly basis. So if you use Gen AI, then it is very fast. Okay, save some time, or even do some kind of code review or script generation. I think this is what some was already mentioned, right? Some applications of Gen AI in cybersecurity. Right. And of course, if you look at the benefit, mostly it's try to automate, try to save time or speed up some development. But if you look at the news, recently there is a article show that somehow Gen AI doesn't save time for us. We think it is faster, but in reality, it's not. Is it true? Okay, so that's from their study, but for me, I think it still saves some time, especially if you want to write some report or develop some quick proposal. Okay, that's something that they found out. Yeah. Okay, so that's also some of the key takeaway, and accelerate innovation and help us on some task. Okay, now let's try a party rock, the bedrock playground, right? So if you click on this link, right, it will ask you to log in, so you can log in using your Amazon, Google, or Apple ID, and it will go to this link, and it will have some instruction on how to play with Gen AI, right? For example, if I connect here, so this is a party rock, right? So you click at GAIF activities, right? So it is a Gen AI foundation, right? So from this box, okay, you can enter a prompt, a dog in a kayak, or you want to make it more challenging, a rock in a theme park, right? And once I type this, then I click run here. Okay, confirm, share, this is oh, invalid, share, clock. Okay, so once you give a prompt, right, so it will call the foundation model from AWS, and it try to create some image based on the prompt, right? And this is for the image, right? And this is for a text that explain this prompt, right? In a, I think, yeah. So that is some of the thing, okay. And of course, you can see that it's gonna somehow refer to a particular prompt on this image. Mm-hmm. Okay, that you can try. So that's some of the example. And you can see that for text to image, it's still not that great. Yeah, so there are some lot of variation. Mm-hmm. Right, or you can try. Or you can click retry, so it will try to regenerate. And this is for the prompt. Have you had anyone have problem accessing this this prompt, this party rock, theme park delight? So for image generation, so I think there are DALL-E or other like foundation model. So have you had a chance to try those DALL-E to generate some image? What's your experience? Very bad. Okay, can you? Oh. Right, so these are some things that you can play with for the Gen AI foundation, right? Mm-hmm. You can try to retry. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's the thing. So I guess if you can access, then yeah. So you see that there are other activities that we will play with later about how to structure and effective prompting techniques. Right, that's what we will like follow up next. Okay, so I think that's what we. Okay, so that wrap up what we covered for this part, which is about the some keywords, some foundations. So how many quiz questions are in this slide? Wuchi, can you remember? How many quiz questions are in this slide? 10. 10 questions. Wow. A total, okay, how many for this particular slide? 3, okay, three answer in this slide. Yeah, so please try to remember, okay? The LLM foundation model, some key aspect, right? And also some services on the cloud that you can try to play with, okay? And, okay, that's it. So, okay, so before we move to the next part, any questions? No, everything is fine, clear? Or you just busy playing with party rock? Okay, maybe I will let you try to play with party rock for some times. But that's conclude the first slide. Okay.